Hey, Chet Screw and other viewers. Have seen yesterday my little video I put up of I'm back there. You'll see I got my new phone yesterday, and so last evening my wife and I took a trip down to my place where I grew up in a little community called West Green Harbour, and I wanted to take my new camera for a test run and shoot some scenery footage. So that's what we did, and for anybody who's noticed this little mark here on the side of my nose here in that little video I shot yesterday, I gotta admit, things got kind of desperate while I had no camera. So if anybody in their mid to late 30s and higher, up towards my age, I'm almost 47. I'll be 47 in August. But you remember an old show called The Flintstones? Well, anyway, the Flintstones, what they had for a camera was they had like an old stone camera, and they had a little bird inside. They had a chisel and a piece of stone there that when you pressed the button, a little stick went in and poked the bird, and he'd chisel out a picture of whatever was in the viewfinder. So anyway, I was so desperate for a camera, I done the same thing. I built myself a little wooden box and captured a little bird. And so anyway, I put him in the box and give him a little piece of paper and a little tiny pen, and so I put the camera up to my face like that and pressed the button, and the stick went in and poked him. Well, he didn't like that too much. He flew out through the hole and gouged me right in the side of the nose here, and the little cockatoo tore me right up with his little tail on. No, just joking. It's a sore from my glasses on the side of my nose. But anyway, can't say I ain't got a good imagination anyway. But yeah, so the next footage you'll see is some of the footage we shot down there. It was quite windy last evening, so a lot of the audio I'm going to have to cut out and dub it over. But anyway, as you'll see, the wind's blowing quite a bit. The water's quite choppy when I get the pictures of the water and things like that. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. And like I say, the next footage you'll see is the scenery. This just shot of the sign before you turn down West Green Harbour. I just thought it was nice to add this in here, and I may end up using it as the thumbnail, I think. Now, this first shot is just a still. I thought the colors were so vivid that I wanted to add it in here. Now you'll notice here I cut out all the audio. Just same area that we're in. This is actually down by land that my younger brother's in-law owns, father-in-law and mother-in-law, and just a beautiful little area here, and showing a bit of the West Green Harbour, actual harbour. And here you see I just zoomed in a bit, just still panning around looking at the water. It's quite choppy, as you can see, and there was a lot of wind in the background that was really muffling the sound, so just voice over and everything here. Okay, here we are at the government wharf here in West Green Harbour. Just taking a shot of some of the local lobster fleet and fishing fleet, I guess. Not necessarily just lobster fishermen. And over there on the other side, you'll see it's an old baiting shed. That gray building there. Now here we are just up the road a little ways from the wharf, up a little side road, just taking some more footage of the different perspective of the harbour. And as I pan back across here, I'll actually put a little arrow in showing where we were sitting before at my younger brother's in-laws' land. It's across the harbour there a ways, and I pointed out. Here I just still framed it. That first red arrow was pointing out their actual home, and the other little one that said here was actually right approximately where we were sitting taking the first footage. Here we are just at a different angle. I got my wife to turn the van back towards the wharf, and here you see this little structure here in the front is a slip where they bring the boats up on dry dock there to work on them or clean them up, the bottoms, clean the mussels and things off them. And you'll see here we get a little bit of sun flare here on the screen. I'm sorry about that. It makes the picture look a little hazy, but just shooting back towards the wharf from the other angle. I think adding in all the different angles helps the video. And all these boats here they actually call them a Cape Island style boat, which is Cape Island is a little area here in west of Shelburne. It's a small area, another fishing community. Just thought that was a little tidbit of information to check in there. Here you'll see the Harbour marker buoys. Those buoys shows you stay in between the green red buoys, and it tells you where the best area to go through without scraping the bottom of your boat off. Now we have this old dilapidated wharf here. I just like the way the old wood contrasts against the pretty water. See right up into the end of the little cove up in here. Beautiful in my opinion. Now that we're up over the Wharf Road, and we're down the road a ways on a different little side road, taking some footage up the whole harbour. This is pretty much the best shots we got of the actual harbour between East and West Green Harbour, and you can pretty much see the whole thing. I just zoomed in here a bit, and it's probably the best shot I got of this area of all the footage. Now here you'll see the people who have a house up across the road here built that little area where you seen the Adirondack chairs. I get a little closer shot of it here later on in the footage. Now here's a little closer shot of the little deck they got built here, and what a beautiful view that must be to sit out in the morning to have a coffee or tea and look up the harbour. What a beautiful area. Here I'm just my wife's just driving the van slowly up the road, and I'm just panning back around and showing some of the beautiful footage up the harbour. Water's so nice and blue today because the sky's so blue, no clouds around. But no, in my opinion, it's pretty beautiful footage. Here we have the West Green Harbour ball field here. I gotta zoom out some. This is actually built up a lot better than it was when we used to play here as kids. And as you can see, they got dugouts here now, and right out here in the center, I'll put an arrow there when I do the footage, is where, if anybody watched my second base splash with me and an old friend of the family there, I bowled him over out behind second and he fell down in the mud puddle there. Now here, ironically enough, our friend that was in that video, he's passed away now. He's actually, his gravestone is right here. My wife's pointing it out. Right here in the graveyard, just across the road from the ball field, actually. And I zoom in here, and this is his actual gravestone here, and that's his parents right alongside of him. Now here I have some cute little footage of a little partridge that was walking up the road. Must have had a hurt wing or something, because usually they won't let you get this close to them. They kind of take off. You'll hear them going right fast. Their wings flap right fast. Now here he turns off into the ditch, and he walks up the ditch for a while. I just try to keep the camera on him. I think this is pretty funny. It says no dumping, and the sign is so dirty that you can't see the no very well.
No dung. No dung. The MP's going.
Yeah.
No dung. It looks like something.
And it's not something somebody done there either. It's something
the sap
that
off the tree.
the sap off the tree. But I think that's quite.
It says no dung.
No dumping, and the tree dumped on the sign because they nailed a stupid looking sign to a beautiful tree, and the tree fought back. The main structure of this old house, I'll have to fact check it with my mother, but I do believe that this is the house where my father was actually born. The house wasn't always in this location. We're through on Collier's Road right now, and my father was born and raised through the other shore where my mom lives now, called Blazer Shore. But I'm quite sure the main structure of this building is the home where my father was born and raised until he was a young man. Now here we're back out onto the main road again, just shooting some footage back towards the harbor. We're kind of sitting right out in front of somebody's home here, and you can see across the bay there a bit, there's a, I can zoom in here, there's an old boat that's been there for years. And my brother actually told me that the people who put that boat there, the old gentleman that originally put the boat there and stopped using it, has passed away, but his son actually goes down and starts it periodically. The engine in the boat actually still starts, which I found to be quite amazing. Here we are through at Blazer Shore on the road my mom lives on. This is the slip road, they call it. It's actually technically called the Shore Road, not Blazer Shore, and I guess my mom told me afterwards that older people in the area don't like it actually being called Blazer Shore, but that's always what I heard it called years ago. So sorry to anybody if that offends you. But here, I still shot it here, zoomed it in a bit. You'll see there's a boat out there in the harbor, and there's another structure there. That's salmon cages. And the boat is a access boat they use to go to all the different salmon cages and feed them, and use it for like a processing work boat. Here we are, just panning back around again. In this area here that I'm about to show on the land here, this used to be all trees, but the people who own this white house up here, they cleared that all out so they have a nice view, and in my opinion they got a really beautiful one. Here we are down in my old stomping grounds when I was a young kid. This is West Green Harbour, and the land you can see way over across the way is Jordan Bay. And this big rock down here, we used to play on this big rock down there, the big black one. I pointed out, man, that thing was a pirate ship, it was a submarine, it was a battleship, it was all kinds of things, and we played on that for hours down there. And that's actually where I want my ashes dumped after I die. I don't know if it's legal, but there you go. And here we have the shoreline that I grew up seeing. Now this big landmass over across the way there, you'll see, is called, that's Blue Island they call it. An elderly lady that came over from the United States used to, I don't know if she owned the whole island or she had access to it anyway. She used to raise sheep over there, and she had one old muskox over there. And down here at the end there is just the very tip point of West Green Harbour. We used to walk down there when we was kids, or drive our bikes down there a lot of times, and play down at the end of there too as well. There's a road that goes right down to the end. There used to be an old shack down there they called the Fish House. That's long since gone now. But now this is the view I had pretty much from the time I was born till I was about 7 years old, and we moved up the road further. This is a cousin of mine's home and area here. You'll see it's a pretty cool way here that he piles his wood to dry. Everybody that sees it is pretty amazed by it, the way he does it. But yeah, I think it's actually quite cool the way he does it.
Every one of them looks the same.
Very neat, and I like the way he's got them up on lobster traps there to keeps the air up underneath them. Now here we have the old home that we used to live into before we moved up the road further. The house doesn't look like it used to back then. It was a pale blue with just shingles, and there wasn't the fancy skirting around the bottom of it, and no patio. But if you look here, right at the corner of the patio and between the little spruce tree out here in the front is approximately where I got run over by the motorcycle in the watch out for that motorcycle video. But I'll chuck a little arrow in there so you can see exactly where. And yeah, so these big trees here in between the two properties was never there before, and there used to be a path that run down over the hill to this next property. You'll see this is my grandparents' old house, but it never looked nothing like this in the past. And this is just a picture of the old shed. Now this old shed is exactly the way my grandfather had it. It's never been changed, but the house itself has been changed a lot. And when I pan back around here, I'll explain what I mean by the house changing. Yeah, so the house was never this big at all. The house was only ever the size of the little small part here in the front, and the doorstep's actually in the same location. But they put an upstairs onto it, and they put 2 or 3 wings off the side there, but it was only a little tiny house when my grandparents owned it. But the people who own it now built it up a lot bigger than what it ever was. Yeah, so there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and If you did, remember please to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel very much. And I'll say with that, remember, if you can't laugh with me, laugh at me. But keep laughing. Have a nice day.